FIU bridge lap SUES for 15 mil. Alleged design firm botched review. This is I think it's the Real Deal South Florida Real Estate. Now that's where the link came out of. It's advertising on this page. Miami by Wade Millward. We'll give credit out to this person's statement, and let's do a narrative of it. September 24th. This is an older dated product. Reason why I brought it up for you guys is they hired a law firm suing Berger. Berger, the engineer. Now, I looked at a few of these lawsuits postings, and what came of this one seems more complete. This is why I'm showing you this one. This article. I'll give you the link to the article below, and you guys can read it one for one. But I'm just doing a quick narrative. Is that they said that once the use of the money towards the MCM, once the use of the money of $9.5 million towards the settlement of the university, and it's total 14. They said 14.2. They said 15 million here, but it appears they clarified down here 14.2. MCM is suing Morris, New Jersey-based the Lewis Berger Group. That's the engineering company that did the peer review, if you guys remember. A professional service provider that received some of the blame in post-incident government investigation. This is NTSB. The NTSB report said that because of Berger independent peer review looked at the bridges as a whole and not in increments, it missed a reinforcing flaw that led to the bridge's failure. Berger's representative told the NTSB it was only paid to look at the bridge in increments. Berger representatives told the NTSB it was only paid to look at the bridge in increments. I understood it was paid not to look at it in increments, but the entire bridge, not as it builds. So it appears this might be a little defect in the article. I think Berger looked at it as an entire bridge and not as sections. And that's what I think this definition of increments they mean here. Of course, the writer wrote increments here, and it's repeating something. The report also said Berger wasn't qualified by the Florida Department of Transportation, which we saw that's a weird thing. One guy was he was not their superior guy for this job, but he was licensed, and then he left the firm, and then Berger apparently Berger. This is the way it pieces together roughly. Could be wrong. Is that Berger, even though the guy left the firm that could represent him with the Florida licensing, they went ahead with it anyway. And hocus pocus, here we are. That's never been very clear to me about that guy, because he did an interview, and he stated I left under like good terms, if you will, but he never made it clear if he was fully still responsible for the entire review or not. That's a tough one. Also named as defendants in MCM's lawsuits was WSP Global, a Canadian company that closed on purchase. So Berger was bought out just before this contract was right about that time, Berger was being bought out by this company, December 2018, $400 million. Let's see, my timeline's getting crazy. Didn't it collapse in March? So it was it's a overlapping purchase. Not named in the lawsuit, but also blamed for the collapse is the bridge designer of the project, Tallahassee-based FIG. In other words, MCM is not suing FIG. MCM is not suing FIG as part of the problem here, which is ridiculous, right? Why would you not sue them? MCM, because they're putting all their chips in, saying that FIG did a good job, and we built as designed, and the design would have been okay had Berger did a good qualified evaluation. But I simply state that NTSB is also not qualified to do the evaluation because their engineers that they hired were also not certified in Florida. They used the two engineers that they showed in the interviews. If you guys remember the long release to us public, those two engineers, neither one were certified in Florida to do bridge evaluation of this level, this sophistication. period. As far as I know, they're not certified to do bridge evaluation in Florida at all, but specifically of this level. So I don't get where the NTSB gets to evaluate something with state rules, and they don't have to follow state rules themselves. So their engineers were also not qualified to evaluate it. If you look up the engineers, one was ex-cop or something like that, of all things, right? And you know, he doesn't have bridge building under his deck. You like that? Under his qualifications, especially a bridge like this. So how the hell can he determine what's wrong? They sent it off to of course, Alaska with their silly ass testing of stuff, and a lot of times they said they weren't able to test this material, that material. They did destructive analysis of the whole thing. They just destroyed it as they're trying to evaluate it. They destroyed it the day of. They didn't. They took it apart and tried to piece it back together later instead of keeping it right where it was and worked with it. They did not really pound on the video showing the deflection between the member where the deck deflected, which would show the moment going on at that point, not at 11 and 12. I do a video showing I do a scaled version of this without post-tensioning on it, and I can show I can stand on top of it without 12 being connected, and the bridge doesn't fail. This design doesn't fail, but it does fail where it shows in the video between here's SUES 11, so between 10 and let's see, it was 11, between the base of 10, so that's 9 and 10, and between 11 and 12, we see the deflection taking place in the deck. And that was quite a long video, so remember we went back and forth about what comes first, the chicken or the egg, the deck or the canopy failing first. Ultimately, I came to the deck. We talked about the sizing of the post-tensioning changed up so much, and how they have the live end and the dead end post-tensioning of the structure do two different forces and kips. And the end that failed had the lower kips. We talk about all the existing cracks. So MCM is claiming that the engineer, the firm, did drop the ball on this Berger. But clearly we have images to show this thing is all cracked up to hell. And yet they still, with this cracked up member, number 11, cracked up, split up, looking like trash, they put thousands of pounds of force into it, expecting what to resist it. If the cracks are so huge in that thing, there was nothing left to resist all those thousands of pounds of force, in my opinion. And then they left the traffic open, knowing that, well, we got a deck that's bowing down. They can't. I mean, they didn't even use survey equipment. They couldn't tell that this deck is bowing down. I think it would be ridiculous to say that anyone looking at that deck and worked on that deck as much couldn't figure out even how to put two string lines together, a string line together, and see that the deck is bowing down between, one end to the other. It's no longer flat. So it tells you that it has a moment towards the ground, and yet they let that traffic go through there, and then thought post-tensioning would put it back to the way it was, as FIG stated, but it's not in that report. But I can't be sued for it because if I did, I could always subpoena the real original NTSB report that I told you I had access to look at, guys. That stated that the report stated that FIG said put it back to where it was the day before. Of course, the final NTSB report leaves that out for some reason. So I'm just stating what was in the report. MCM said in the suit that in its construction work was not blamed for the collapse, and that it would never have built the bridge with the flawed design had Berger caught the error. Well, I state that MCM should have seen the cracked up number 11 and everything else, and as a bridge builder, they should say, well, this member is defective. This member is no good. And remember also the post-tensioning company also should have also said that, look, because they do repairs. That's what they argue. Their specialty is also repairs of structures. They should have said this member is defective now. It's at full failure. It's cracked. It's split. It's twisted. It's torqued. we got all this going on. We just don't go back now and just post-tension it. So I think they should have went after the post-tensioning company also. But nevertheless, the builder allowed this to go on, including FIU, the building department, the inspection department, FIU. And the responsibility quote, that the MCM may have held for the bridge collapse arose from the acts of the omission of Fig and Louis Berger, not from any active negligence by MCM. Isn't that amazing? Active negligence. So who was on the bridge at the time? Apparently not MCM, because they're using the word very, very choicely, if you will. I like that, making up my words, right? Very choicely. Yes, I'm doing it on purpose. I learned it from a psychologist I knew, to screw up certain things, and it will stand out more so. So they did this word active is done by choice. All right, so they weren't on the bridge right then. And yes, they built this everything else, and they might have contributed, but right then they were not from any active negligence by MCM. The active negligence would have been what? The post-tensioning company and Fig telling them go ahead and do it. The meeting, the way they allowed it to go on with the state representative, etc. MCM would probably really be the lowest one on the totem pole, except for they had a hazard they knew about and they didn't protect the public from that hazard. So I don't see how they're going after them for money, but yet they created the hazard. Look, you guys see me doing some demo, and you see me loading the truck. Oh, well, maybe I don't show you loading the trucks up. When I take that excavator and I spin it around, and it's hit partly in the street, and we got traffic running to the left of us, if any of that debris falls out of that excavator bucket and onto a car and kills somebody, I'm negligent, aren't I? I mean, I can't claim, well, you know what? It was just an accident, whatever. No, I took the debris from one section. I was in control of it. Then at one point, through negligence, through non-knowledge, whatever, I lost control of the, say, a piece of concrete, and it went flying into a windshield and killing someone. I still go to jail for it. I don't get the claim, wow, that was just an accident. Wow, didn't see that coming. Wow, it was just an accident. So, it's very strange that we get to, that's a big risk we take. We're not allowed to close down streets a lot because of fire reasons, so you have to take the risk of the danger, but controlled risk, because you do things like, operate very slowly, operate with the thought that that something's going to go wrong, swing the bucket when you see there's no vehicle into the dumpsters or trucks when there's no vehicle parallel to the truck. That's when you're going to release it. Last thing you do is you want to open up the bucket, release it, and the car's next to it, and you get some damn elastic reaction inside the opening of the bucket, and materials interacting, and wow, you didn't see that coming. It bounced down out of the truck, off of something that's in the truck, and out of the truck. You're still responsible. My point is, you're responsible once you're doing this stuff. The NTSB, in a separate report from the Occupational Safety and Health Department, did blame MCM, the Florida Department of Transportation, and the university for leaving the road under the bridge open during emergency construction work, and for failing to implement safety measures when cracks formed. So we know that cracks formed, right? So, and that's that one. When cracks form, so we have these cracks. Let's use this one. I think this is one of my images. Maybe not, because I did a lot. This is what they started post-tensioning on. So it's still in the air. And the MCM is claiming that, we don't know. Look at this. Look at these members. I mean, they're split all the hell, all the way through. So you can't claim ignorance when you're looking at cracks as huge as that. When this split is fully, this is probably by the reinforcement. It's fully there. This is before vertical pipe sleeve. Okay, this is before you can see the woodwork and some anti-ballistic missile or protection from walking off the bridge. That fabric there is there at the time. But you can't post-tension add all those thousands of pounds of kips on something that's just shattered. It's just shattered, and they just did a bad evaluation. We talked about that. I just wanted to put you up to speed. You can obviously see many of my videos on this. I just wanted to put you up to speed on the on MCM suing for $15 million, $14.2 million. $14.2 million. Let me just get you one more thing. So this shows torque, as I call it, torque. A rotation of the canopy was being rotated. When you look at this image alone, will it show it? All right, I didn't really want to show that. Let me go backwards. I just wanted the image. When you see that you can stick a tape measure in it, that means the top of 11 here rotated different than the top than the base of bottom. So it has if we're looking at it from the other end of the bridge, a clockwise rotation at this, and that's probably caused by the we'll consider the pads being level by the post tensioning and your factors. You know, your this I-beam shape, I-beam, H-beam, W-beam, however you want to look at it. Where are we now? I want to show you the base of that. Okay, here. So we have an elevation here. So that tells you that some torque or dropping. One side is going down, one side's going up. We know it's sort of going up because they talk about shimming. So you can't shim something that's already pinned down. So they were talking about shimming it. And we found images of shimming in other previous videos I showed you. They're looks like nylon product. Let's see and here we go. Here again, we got one up, one down. So we have that torque action, and this part lowering on this side. So this column is no longer in plumb, I think. As you can see, the bottom's down on the left side as we look at it, the left side from the rear of it. And then on the right side, the bottom is up. So you have number 11, the column number 11 doing a torque. As you're looking from, say, out here, it would be the top would be counterclockwise, would be rotated off a plumb from the top to the bottom this direction. And that would give us a downward rotation here. As you can see, the concrete's connected to this column still, and it's below this part of the deck. And then on this side, we see it indicating as an upward direction. So it shows you that 11 has that torque action going on. And I show that with the measurements at the bottom in other videos when I show you the measurements using the tape measure that they had available. So this thing had a torque action going on. It's just a nightmare. And they, NTSB I think was just the wrong organization to be investigating this. They're just a bunch of clowns. Take care. Bye.